When you cross the age of 80, something quietly but profoundly shifts, not just in your body, not just in your bones, but in how the world sees you, in how time touches you, and in how silence begins to stretch longer between moments that once felt full of life. There is no grand announcement, no warning sign, no preparation guide that tells you what it really feels like to grow old past 80, because so much of what happens after this age is wrapped in silence, swept under polite conversations, hidden behind nostalgic smiles and filtered photos, but the truth, raw, aching, and powerful, sits quietly inside millions of elders who are silently navigating realities no one prepared them for. The first truth is that your world becomes smaller, not just physically but emotionally. Friends you laughed with are no longer here, siblings who held your childhood are gone, and sometimes even your spouse, your life partner, has left this world before you. The phone rings less. The visits become fewer. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, your circle shrinks. Not because you stopped caring, but because time takes away people one by one, and suddenly you realize you're the last one standing at the reunion of your life. No one talks about the loneliness that isn't loud but constant. A quiet emptiness that fills the rooms of your home like invisible smoke. You sit in a chair and it creaks a little louder because no one's talking over it. You make a cup of tea and place it on the table, but there's no second cup, no one across from you, no conversation about the day. The silence becomes your closest companion, and while you grow used to it, you never quite love it. The second truth is the betrayal of your own body. The very hands that once braided hair, cradled babies, signed deals, planted gardens, those hands now tremble, drop things, ache in the morning. Your knees no longer trust you fully. Stairs look taller than they used to. Your skin, once glowing with youth, is now paper-thin and bruises with a glance. You wake up not refreshed but sore. You plan your outings around bathrooms, chairs, and medications. No one warned you that every task, no matter how small, would become a calculation of energy and balance. And yet, you push through, not because it's easy but because you've learned that living is not about being flawless, it's about being persistent. The third truth is that people start talking around you instead of to you. You notice it in hospitals, in banks, even in family gatherings. Someone else answers on your behalf even when you're capable. Your stories are cut short. Your opinions are nodded at but not taken seriously. You become a relic in the room, someone to be respected, yes, but not engaged. You feel seen but not heard, loved but not understood. You begin to question whether your thoughts still matter. But let me tell you this, they do. Every word, every opinion, every memory you hold is a piece of this world's puzzle. You are not invisible. You are wisdom wrapped in skin. Speak anyway. The fourth truth is the emotional weight of remembering. Memories flood in when you least expect them. A song, a smell, a photo. And suddenly, you are back in a time when your children were small, your spouse was alive, your hair was still dark, and your legs could run without thought. The memories are beautiful, yes, but they carry grief too. Grief not just for what's gone, but for the person you used to be. The hardest part of aging is not the physical pain, but the mourning of your former self while still living. But there is a strange grace in remembering. It reminds you that you lived, that you loved deeply, that your life was full of color and music and mess. And even though those moments are past, they are proof that you were here, that you mattered, and that your heart has stretched wide enough to hold decades of life. The fifth truth is that purpose doesn't retire when you do. After 80, many people stop asking you what your dreams are. They assume you've done all you wanted. But inside there's still longing. A desire to feel useful. To feel seen. To be a part of something. And when no one invites you in, you begin to wonder, am I finished? The answer is no. You are not done. If you can smile, you can heal someone. If you can write, you can inspire someone. If you can listen, you can comfort someone. Your existence still carries weight. The world needs elders who carry quiet fire, who teach by presence, who show us what enduring dignity looks like. So find a way to serve, even if it's just by being kind, by making one phone call a day to someone lonelier than you, or by telling your stories to your grandchildren before they forget to ask. Your purpose is not in the past. It's in the present, in how you show up with courage every single day. The sixth truth is the fear of death becomes strangely familiar. It's not the dramatic terror of youth, it's the quiet awareness that every goodbye could be your last. You begin to plan things differently. You look at sunsets a little longer. You hold hands a little tighter. You pray not for more years but for peace in the years you have left. Sometimes it's scary. Sometimes it's peaceful. But the most haunting part is not death, it's the fear of dying alone, of no one knowing or noticing, of your name becoming a whisper in someone's memory instead of a chapter in their life. And yet, in this fear there is also a call to live fuller now, To forgive, to say what needs to be said, to take pictures even if you don't like how you look, to tell people you love them while you still can. You don't have to chase more time. You just have to cherish what's here. Finally, the seventh truth is the aching beauty of resilience. No one tells you how strong you'll have to be, not just to survive illness or pain, but to survive days where the phone doesn't ring, holidays where no one visits, or birthdays where the only cake is the one you buy yourself. You carry the weight of all your losses and still smile. You wake up every day even when no one is waiting. You keep your house tidy, your clothes clean, your mind sharp, not because someone is watching but because you still have pride. That, dear soul, is strength. That is heroism. That is what makes you magnificent. You are not less because you're older. You are more. More seasoned. More softened. More whole. Your heart has been broken and healed more times than most can imagine, and still, you choose to love. Still you choose to hope. Still you choose to live. And that choice, that daily decision to rise again despite everything, is what defines true greatness. So if you are 80 or beyond, know this: your life is not over. Your story is still being written. You are still the author. Don't let the world silence your voice or shrink your soul. Expand into this season. Love deeper. Laugh louder. Sit in the sun longer. Hug tighter. You've earned the right to be exactly who you are, without shame, without apology. Don't let anyone rush you. Don't let anyone dismiss you. You are the elder, the keeper of memories, the living proof that life goes on. And when the days feel heavy, when you feel forgotten, remind yourself, you are not alone. You are part of a sacred generation that carried families, built homes, survived wars, and shaped futures. You are the heartbeat of history, still pulsing with purpose. Speak your truth. Live with grace. And know that somewhere, someone still needs your story, your wisdom, your love. And even as the world seems to race ahead, with newer technologies, faster ways of living, younger faces in charge, you sit in the quiet aftermath of all that once was, surrounded not by noise but by memories, not by hustle but by stillness. And in that stillness, something incredible happens. You begin to understand things in ways that no younger person possibly can. You understand that time is no longer measured in clocks but in meaning. You understand that not every moment needs to be productive to be profound. You understand that beauty lies not in what you achieve now, but in what you remember, what you pass on, what you quietly become. You begin to treasure the smallest of things: a bird on the windowsill, the rustle of wind through a curtain, the warm comfort of socks on a cold morning. These are not just background details anymore, they are lifelines, reminders that life still speaks if we listen closely. At this age, you stop craving noise and begin to crave depth. You no longer seek approval, you seek peace. You stop worrying about what's trendy and start anchoring yourself in what's eternal: kindness, stillness, faith, memory, love. And in doing so, you become a living embodiment of grace. But even in this grace, there are unspoken wounds, truths so heavy they often remain locked behind smiles. Like how difficult it is to ask for help, when all your life you've been the helper. It stings deeply when your hands can no longer open jars, or when your eyes struggle to read labels, or when you find yourself asking strangers to reach something for you on a high shelf. It humbles you, breaks you open, but it also teaches you vulnerability and with it, connection. Because in asking for help, you are also giving others a chance to serve, to care, to be human with you. And still, there is the silent battle of watching your identity shift. You were once the one others turned to, the mother, the mentor, the maker of memories. And now you sometimes feel like a shadow of those titles. But titles don't define your worth. Presence does. Your very existence, sitting there with your hands folded, holding lifetimes within your bones, is enough to shake the earth if only we paid attention. There's also the quiet sting of feeling left out, not just of conversations but of plans. You hear about family trips after they happen. You see photos on social media of gatherings you weren't invited to, not out of cruelty but oversight. And yet, that oversight echoes in your heart like a question: do I still matter? The answer always is yes. But it is a yes you must speak to yourself daily, fiercely. Because the world is forgetful, but your worth is permanent. And then comes the strange paradox of time. It moves so slowly in the quiet of your day but so rapidly in the rearview mirror of your memories. One moment you're young and in love, the next you're holding a cane and wondering where the years went. The whiplash of memory can be painful. But instead of mourning how fast it all passed, honor it by living slowly now. Let this be the season of savoring. The season of breathing between sentences, of sipping instead of chugging, of listening instead of replying. Because in this slowness, wisdom blooms. There's also the weight of accumulated grief. Not just for those you've lost, but for the many versions of yourself that no longer exist. the mother of young children, the businesswoman, the lover, the strong one. Each one a chapter closed, lovingly or painfully, but closed nonetheless. And yet, you are not only what you were, you are what you've become. And what you've become is resilient, raw, radiant. Every version of you lives on in the lines of your face, in the depth of your eyes, in the silence you carry so gracefully. You are not finished. You are layered. And these layers tell the story of a soul that refused to give up, even when everything changed. You've had to accept loss in ways most will never understand. You've had to say goodbye to people, places, abilities, and plans, and still here you are. You've witnessed decades unfold, generations rise, and the world transform. You are history embodied. You are strength personified. You are what happens when the storm passes and the tree still stands. And though your branches may be bent, your roots have never been deeper. You've learned that happiness isn't in grand moments, but in consistent gratitude. It's in being able to get up on your own. In remembering a loved one without breaking. In sipping tea while watching the rain. In the warmth of a favorite sweater. In hearing someone say your name kindly. In being remembered. You now realize that most people your age are quietly battling the same things. Loneliness, slowness, silence, regret, hope. But we rarely talk about it. Because society has conditioned us to stay strong, even when we feel like crumbling. But there is power in honesty. There is strength in softness. There is healing in saying, this is hard. But I'm still here. And perhaps the most sacred truth of all is this. Even after 80 you still have a choice. You can choose to complain, or you can choose to create joy. You can choose to fade, or you can choose to shine in the ways only age allows. You can choose to count your losses, or you can count your blessings no matter how small. Because every day you wake up is a victory. Every smile is a rebellion against despair. Every act of self-love is a revolution in a world that forgets the elderly. You are not forgotten. You are a beacon. You are the elder the world still needs. Your wisdom is not outdated, it's rare. Your stories are not boring, they are bridges. Your presence is not a burden, it is a blessing. So sit tall. Speak freely. Love fully. Remember deeply. And live fiercely even in the quietest ways. Because the truth about getting older, after 80, after all the goodbyes, all the breakdowns, all the birthdays, is that you are still becoming. Still worthy. Still radiant. Still powerful. Still here. And that is something worth celebrating every single day. As days grow quieter and the calendar pages turn with less urgency, there remains inside you a deep yearning that never left. A desire not just to be remembered, but to still feel connected, needed, relevant. Because even if the mirror shows lines and silver hair, your soul has not aged. Your soul is still that child who danced in the rain, that young woman who fell in love, that man who once believed he could lift the world. And somewhere inside that body that aches and slows, that person is still there, watching, remembering, hoping. That is perhaps the greatest secret of getting older after 80, you never stop being you. The world might stop asking your opinion, might overlook you at the store, might assume you don't want to learn or dream or grow, but inside you still carry the fire. It flickers on some days, yes, but it never goes out. And in many ways your heart now burns with a purer flame, a flame no longer fueled by ambition or approval, but by clarity, gratitude, and the aching beauty of just being alive. It's in this age that you begin to value moments over milestones. You find joy not in having more but in needing less. A warm meal, a gentle sunrise, the sound of someone saying your name with love, these are treasures more precious than gold. You stop waiting for the perfect day to do something kind or wear something nice or call someone you miss, you just do it. Because you've learned that waiting is a thief, and time is a gift best opened today. And still there's pain, yes, because no one prepares you for how many goodbyes come after 80. Friends who once filled your birthdays with laughter are now only in photos. Your siblings, with whom you shared secret languages and childhood dreams, have gone silent. Sometimes even your own children are too busy to truly see you anymore. You feel the distance, not just physical but emotional. And that distance hurts in places no one sees. But you endure, not with bitterness but with grace. Because you've learned how to hold space for love even in absence. You've learned how to love people where they are, not where you wish they'd be. That's not weakness. That's mastery. You begin to understand that aging is not the loss of youth, it's the gaining of understanding. It's not about how fast you walk or how well you remember details. It's about how deeply you feel, how freely you forgive, how willingly you slow down to feel the wind on your face. You begin to choose silence over noise, peace over drama, presence over performance. And in doing so, you become a mirror for what younger generations are missing. Because they are rushing through life, chasing approval and applause, while you now understand the beauty of simply being. Being in the moment. Being with yourself. Being enough. And yes, the world often forgets that. Society puts youth on a pedestal and tries to shrink you into the shadows. But you must never shrink. You must shine, quietly, steadily, like a lighthouse that stands even when the ships no longer pass as often. Your very survival is light. Your presence is power. And while your days may be filled with routines and silence, your mind still dances with the music of decades. Your body may slow, but your heart still quickens at kindness, at beauty, at love. And let me tell you this, that love you still carry is sacred. It doesn't have to be loud to be real. It can be in the way you fold your clothes with care, or how you still remember everyone's birthday, or how you smile even when no one is looking. That's love. That's legacy. That's what the world needs more of. So don't stop showing up with your love, even if it's not always returned. Even if no one claps. Even if you cry later. You are not here to be admired, you are here to be you. Fully. Softly. Fiercely. And though it's true, some days feel like repeats, some mornings feel heavy, some nights echo with memories you'd rather not revisit, you still rise. You still eat. You still dress. You still give. And every single act, no matter how ordinary, is extraordinary at your age. Because continuing to live with dignity, in a world that often forgets the elderly, is the most powerful act of rebellion. And there's beauty in your slowness. There's meaning in your silence. You have the rare ability now to listen, really listen, not just to others but to your own soul. You know what it's like to be right and wrong, to be in love and in grief, to win and to lose. And that makes you rich in ways no money ever could. You may no longer chase dreams with the same energy, but now you embody them. You are the dream your younger self once imagined, surviving, loving, learning. You are not too late. You are right on time. And maybe, just maybe, this season is your most important one yet. Because now you can teach not with lectures but with presence. You can guide not with plans but with patience. You can love not with urgency but with depth. The world doesn't need you to be what you were, it needs you to be exactly who you are. A soul refined by time, softened by experience, strengthened by storms. So sit at your window like a monarch. Share your stories like scriptures. Laugh at your own jokes. Call someone you miss. Take a photo of yourself, not to post but to remind your future self, I was alive today. I chose hope today. I mattered today. Let the world see what aging really looks like, not as decay but as evolution. Let them see that getting older doesn't mean fading, it means burning with a quieter flame, yes, but one that still warms the room. Let your wrinkles tell stories, your scars tell truths, your eyes reflect all that you've seen. Let your loneliness be the birthplace of creativity, of prayer, of poetry. Let your silence be filled with sacredness, not sorrow. Let your presence be enough because it is. And if you ever wonder, does anyone care? Let me answer, I care. The world cares. Maybe not always in ways you can see. But every soul you've touched, every life you've shaped, every small kindness you've ever shown, they echo. They ripple. They return. You may feel alone but you are not forgotten. You are woven into the fabric of hundreds of hearts. You are the whisper in someone's wisdom. You are the echo in a child's laughter. You are the strength someone leans on without even knowing why. That is the legacy of a life lived fully. And now, as you breathe through this very moment, know that this too is sacred. This breath, this heartbeat, this you, right here, still becoming, still glowing, still needed, still enough.